In the heart of Ajani village in Tunisia, where red soil clung to bare feet and smoky air danced with the scent of firewood, lived a woman named Maman Kechi. Her back was bent from years of carrying bundles of firewood, and her hands bore the scars of a lifetime spent over open flames. But her spirit stood tall, proud, fiery, and unshakable. Each morning before the cock crowed, Maman Kechi would trudge to the forest with her machete and raffia rope. She returned with wood stacked so high on her head that passers-by paused in awe. Her journey wasn't one of survival alone, it was one of purpose. She sold her firewood in the village square, and with the little she made, she prepared the most fragrant pots of smoky jollof rice, agusi soup, and spicy pepper stew. But people mocked her. Look at her, still cooking with firewood in the age of gas stoves. Who will eat this smoke-infested food? They laughed. They sneered. But Mama Nkechi kept cooking. She believed in her food. She believed in her hands. Then came a day that changed everything. A young man named Emeka, a university graduate struggling to find work, returned to the village after years in the city. Hungry and frustrated, he followed the scent of something magical, Mama Nkechi's cooking. He ate. He wept. Mama, this is the taste of home, the taste of love. Why is no one talking about you? Emeka, with his digital skills, began recording Mama Nkechi's cooking process. He posted her meals online. Her food, her laughter, her firewood kitchen, all went viral. Soon, tourists came, TV stations called, local politicians visited. But the real twist came when the president of the country made a surprise stop during a campaign tour. He took one bite of Mama Nkechi's pepper soup and paused. The cameras froze. His entourage leaned in. "Who made this food?" he asked. "That would be Mama Nkechi, Your Excellency," said his aide. The president stood, walked to her, and bowed slightly. "I haven't tasted food like this since my mother died. You, Mama, have fed my soul." With that, he offered her a national honor, and something even bigger, the chance to run a culinary school funded by the government. But success has its own trials. As Mama Nkechi's fame grew, her relatives who once mocked her appeared. "You remember us, Mama? Your cousins? Your sisters?" Land disputes rose. A business partner tried to steal her recipes. One of her workers, a young girl she trained, opened a fake branch of her brand in the city. Mama Nkechi, though hurt, remained steady. She called a village meeting under the big mango tree and said, "When I was carrying firewood, none of you wanted the load. Now that I carry gold, everyone wants a share. But let me remind you, this fortune was built from sweat, not shortcuts." She expanded her school, giving free training to young women who had dropped out of school, single mothers, and even ex-convicts. Her goal was simple. If her firewood-fed dream could rise, so could anyone else's. Then came an international twist. A top chef from France flew in to meet her. He challenged her to a cooking duel on live television. The crowd cheered as Mama Nkechi, dressed in her ankara and head wrap, prepared pounded yam and ogbono soup with goat meat. The French chef made a fancy 5-course meal. But when the judges tasted Mama's food, they closed their eyes, smiled, and nodded. Unanimous decision. Mama Nkechi won. That night she was offered a global deal, a chain of restaurants in New York, Paris, and London. She accepted, but on one condition. My first restaurant must open in Ajani village. And so it was. But as the fame grew brighter, so did the shadows around it. One morning, while Mama Nkechi was overseeing construction at the new Ajani Culinary Institute, her dream school finally becoming a reality, 2 men in dark suits arrived in a black SUV. They introduced themselves as officials from a major international food corporation. With smiles as polished as their shoes, they offered Mama Nkechi a multi-million naira deal. "We want to buy your recipes, package them, bottle them, sell them globally," one said. "We'll make your face the brand. You'll never have to cook again." Mama Nkechi looked at the sleek documents they laid before her. Numbers danced on the pages, enough money to build 10 schools, enough to make sure her grandchildren's grandchildren would never know hunger. But Mama Nkechi, the woman who once bent over smoke-filled pots with tears from wood and onion mixing on her cheeks, smiled and said, "If I stop cooking, how will the food taste the same? If I sell my soul with my spices, what will my name taste like?" She thanked them and sent them away with bowls of steaming jollof rice. News of her refusal spread like wildfire. She turned down billions for her pride. Who does she think she is? But Mama Nkechi didn't flinch. She had made a vow the day she was mocked in the market for her smoky food. Let my firewood be enough fuel for my future. The community, once skeptical, now stood behind her. Youth who had once run to the city now returned, enrolling in her school. Even the elderly came to learn, from how to balance spices to building honest businesses. The school was more than a kitchen. It became a home for second chances. But fate, as always, wasn't done testing her. One stormy evening, a fire broke out in the Ajani Culinary Institute. Lightning struck during a thunderstorm, and within minutes, the wooden thatched buildings she had painstakingly built were engulfed in flames. She stood in the rain, barefoot, watching her dream crumble into ash. People wailed, students cried. Some begged her to give up, but Mama Nkechi took a deep breath, raised her eyes to the sky, and whispered, "The fire that feeds can also destroy. But ashes are not the end. They are the beginning of something new." She gathered her students and held a meeting the very next day. "No tears today," she told them. "We rise, we build again." And build they did, this time with bricks, stones, and iron. International aid poured in, not because she asked, but because her story had inspired hearts across continents. Volunteers arrived, farmers donated land, builders worked for free. A famous architect who had once eaten her okra soup in a small stall flew in to design a school campus more beautiful than any university in the region. A grand reopening was held 1 year later, and at the ceremony a surprise guest arrived, the president again, but this time with leaders from 6 different African countries. He stood before the crowd and said, "When we speak of African pride, we speak of women like Mama Nkechi. From firewood to fortune, from ridicule to recognition, she is proof that greatness starts with grit." He handed her a national award, the Flame of the Nation. Mama Nkechi took the mic with shaky hands, looked out at the sea of faces, young and old, rich and poor, and said, "Let no one tell you that your beginning is too small. Let no one laugh at your hustle. Let no one dim your fire because it burns differently. I did not cook to be famous. I cooked to feed. But through feeding, I found my purpose." Cheers roared. And the final twist? Mama Nkechi started a foundation, the Wooden Spoon Project, which built kitchens and trained women in 20 villages. Each graduate was given a starter kit, an apron, cooking utensils, and a plaque that read, "May your hands never forget the taste of home." Her story was turned into a best-selling book, adapted into a film, and taught in schools. But she still cooked. Every Sunday, you'd find her outside her small home in Ajani, crouched beside her clay stove, stirring pots of steaming rice for the local children. "Why do you still cook yourself?" a journalist once asked her. Mama Nkechi smiled and said, "Because food tastes different when cooked with love, and love, my dear, is still my favorite spice." From the smoke of firewood to the glow of international fame, Mama Nkechi remained the same. She cooked with love. She trained others with kindness, and she proved that even from humble beginnings, one woman could feed a nation and inspire the world. Fortune built on firewood may seem small, but when fueled by passion, it becomes an unquenchable flame. Never be ashamed of your beginnings. What others mock today may become tomorrow's miracle. Please subscribe for more videos. Thank you.